black community has come to the place now where everything that's done by government or by private industry or by any Blue Ribbon Committee has to recognize self-determination, and self-determination is the foundation upon which all relationships with the black community are to be built.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to another experience of Alkebulan Inspirational Sunday. What do you decree and what do you call in the spirit? What do your mind's thoughts seek to manifest? For us here at the World of Alkebulan, we seek to manifest the rise of the African, the awareness of the God in you. So, how do the awareness of the God in me connect to the African? Because that's the people and the culture and the traditions in which He called you to. And so you can't. It's easier to get to God knowing who and whose you are. It's easier to get to your path of what you were called to be if you can manifest the rise of the African within. Because in that identity that is in God, you will find out who you are and what you are here to do. That's it. Your destiny is within that space where you are manifesting the rise of the African in you. So call what you will, call what you want. If you are anything else, that's your choice, not God's. Think about it. Now, today again, we'll welcome you to the Alkebulan World of Alkebulan Inspirational Experience. Now, I don't know if people were watching on the streams yesterday. We had a transitional ceremony for someone who had focused most of his journey on the liberation of black people. We say there's nothing most sacred. There's nothing most sacred. And so we've been talking about the rise of the African in you now. In this journey, you're going to find individuals who are trying to lead you to that moment, to that experience. And then when you sit down and say you're going to walk down that path, they're going to sit down and they're going to ride you. They're going to make sure that you stay accountable to God, meaning black excellence, black superiority, black power, black everything. Why? Because God calls us to be as equal as anybody else on the face of this planet. And for one of those brothers who did it for me was definitely Cardinal Hodari Kamal Omari. Without a shadow of a doubt. He was literally a kingdom builder in every aspect of his journey. Not only could he physically do it, but he could spiritually do it. And then he would sit down and have you be accountable for what you spiritually profess. Woo! We are in that season of transitions. And I'm going to talk about that. This has hit me so hard just a few minutes ago. Even though we did the ceremony, but the season that I'm in at this current moment before this ends, even though we're going into Advent season. And I'm going to get somebody to come up in here and talk to me about this transitional phase that we in, because I know I'm personally in it. I'm watching people transition in and out, alive and dead. Alive and alive. How's that? Alive physically and alive and spiritually. I'm watching people transition. It is emotionally pulling. It is deeply emotionally pulling, but what is the purpose of that? So we're going to talk about that some other day. But what I want to do is share is as we begin, or as we start, I'm going to talk about my brother. I want to say, hey, this particular Alkebulan Inspirational Sunday is in honor to the memory of Cardinal Hodari Kamal Omari. Absolutely nothing but pure king, pure teacher, pure ministerial and pastoral. When I'm trying to tell you, this brother had a heart to build for black people. A heart to build, not only for those in his age range, but all of those below. And I happen to be just one of them. And truly grateful to have been able to be in his atmosphere. He was, when you talk about holistic eating and healing, it was him. When you're talking about electronic building, plumbing, you talk about sheetrock construction, drywalling. You talk about planting food and vegetation and herbs. Wow. His father was an herbologist. He told me his dad used to walk through the woods and pick and fruit. He grew up in a house of mason jars of different herbs that could heal anything. He believed that the body was its a pure temple, and all you had to do was feed it what it needed to manifest its best potential. And so we celebrate the life. So we sometimes don't have to go too far back in terms of our ancestral memory to see our greatness. We can see our greatness of those who are passing through. I see greatness in those who are physically still here and just choose to pass through. You got to tap into that greatness because you are becoming. And I say in this space, I know even more, despite how hard it can be, I'm becoming more African than I've ever been. And with that, we can sit down and get to our reason for being here today. World of Alkebulan, this series that we've been working on. World of Alkebulan, the promised land. We are called to build a better life for the generations to come. Why? Because it was done for us. Cardinal Darby did it for me. I don't know how many times he called me to his house to fix his computer, and I told the story yesterday, and the computer wasn't even broke. But I was sitting cleaning up, and he would just talk and tell stories and interact. Because I wasn't in this group. When I came in the community. Yeah, they tried to get me into the builders team because I had certain skills. But the sister said he has a heart for black youth, and we want him, and I was there. And so before he moved on to the next phase where he took his lessons in life around the globe, he literally and that was one of the last conversations he had with me. He said, I've done everything here that God has called me to do. And then it's time for me to move into a different space where I'm moving around the globe. Belize, Costa Rica. They said he settled in Pom Pom, Ghana. And you had videos of him talking to youth, and they all were around him. Videos of him in interaction with individuals who were growing up and looking for wisdom. World of Alkebulan, the promised land. And so in that space where he told me he had finished his checklist, and that's what I'm working on, my checklist. Most people don't understand how I've become what I've become, and it was because of those individuals who have gone before me, leaving the breadcrumbs of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, that as I walk, I eat. As I walk, I eat. I grow. I develop. I have the vision, and I move forward. My tools and talents are unlocked. My perspective on life is unlocked. My aspirations of what I want to achieve is unlocked. This is World of Alkebulan. And then, without having to have anybody say a word, I am completely under the government of God. This is the world of Alkebulan. It was done for me. And so those in the world of Alkebulan seek to do it for you. And so now today we have a special, and we're going to get started because this thing about 17 minutes long. It's actually more than 17 minutes. Now, Phony Janiki has always been one to be in the background of development, organization, and structure. Now, she had to be in the foreground when she was actually the physical teacher in Alkebulan. When she's a physical teacher in the classroom, she had to be up front. And when she was in the choir, we all sang in the choir together. When she had to be, look, real talk. My story of Janiki coming up. So Janiki was always quiet, always reserved, always, conservative as much as possible. But there was nothing but ingenuity, intelligence, there's creativity there. And so we in the choir, she's singing and we singing. And one day she steps down to direct the choir at one of our most powerful, energetic, upbeat, soul experience songs, soul search. I mean, it was just thunderous. And we always loved this. All love doing the song, right? And I'm sitting there like, Janiki going to direct this song? Right? When I tell you the transformation of God power in that sister changed that whole atmosphere, the building, watching her just direct it, she turned it out. World of Alkebulan and the church and the spiritual aspect of the PAOCC helps you unlock the power of who you are, whose you are, and the key one, what you were sent here to do. Woo! And so now I asked her to do a video. Janaki's still not one to be up front, right? So she sent me an audio. Phony Janaki sent me 100% audio. Now I did what I could do to get you the best experience of the sister who was clearly governed by God through the experience of the PAOCC and all her journey and World of Alkebulan. And so I'm going to sit and again, I've done this before. I didn't now. It should be two parts. So Janaki, you watching, is going to be two parts because I had to do the first 17 minutes and the last 4 minutes. I'm going to make that another excerpt. Right. So we're gonna build on that because I had to edit a whole lot for this because you don't see nothing, but you just hear her voice. So this is the best I could do, and I hope y'all enjoy it. We're gonna watch it and listen to it together.
What has my experience been working with Alkebulan Academy and young people in general, and what do I see for the future of Black youth? Well, it seems like I have been working with young people for a major portion of my life, now that I think about it. In college, many, many, many moons ago, I worked with young people at a youth development program in Tallahassee, Florida. I was a Spanish teacher. It was an independent, African-centered school, so we were Black on purpose. The children there were so smart. It was run almost single-handedly by a sister named Olabisi. I say almost because although she had the support of family, parents, and volunteers, she truly was the backbone of its success. She always made sure that the children traveled places and participated in programs. She always seemed to appreciate their talents and encourage their expression. Right after that, once I finished college and moved on out to the world, I worked with children in a type of homeschool. A group of Black parents in West Palm Beach, Florida, wanted to teach their children themselves, so we formed a school. I worked with the children several days a week, along with my regular job at a local television station. The school was called Shule Africa. I even wrote the school song. I remember the opening words. We are strong, we are destined to go far, with the will to determine who we are. Although we are many, we are one, for at Shule, the journey has begun. We met in different locations before we settled in a more permanent spot. I remember the time we held classes in this small building. One day, one of the parents was being interviewed live on the radio about the school. We listened to the broadcast. No sooner than the interview was over, this red-faced, I don't know where he came from, white middle-aged bald guy opened the door to the room, peered in, and said he wanted to learn more about Black people. We knew that was a farce. Intel at its most basic stage. I mean, it was obvious. He was stopped at the entrance. We got him out of there quickly, and we made sure to lock that door. We ended up moving to the garage of one of the parents, Brother Steve. We functioned off of intelligence, willingness, and good intentions because none of us, save one, were school teachers. Brother Steve was a quiet warrior. He was soft-spoken, but serious about educating his daughter in an African-centered environment. He and his wife were gracious and allowed us to operate the school in their garage for a good while. I communicated with Brother Steve via email a few years ago. We reminisced about the kids. His daughter was now an adult in her 30s. He thanked me for the things I taught her and the children. Even after all these years, I still remember her naming the countries on the Africa map. I made up this song naming all the countries in Africa. The kids would sing it while pointing at the big map in Brother Steve's garage. Honestly, I didn't know all the countries myself until I wrote the song. Working with children will make you grow. A few years later, I worked with children and teens in the Alkebulan Academy program in my church, the Shrine of the Black Madonna in Atlanta, Georgia, the Divine Shrine 9. I did that almost from the beginning, but I started out very small. I mainly helped children in the afternoon with their homework. Over time, I grew to be a house parent and group facilitator. I have to say that although it was challenging, it was a very rewarding experience. I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew to be faithful and I did my best. As I said, it was challenging. It was challenging having to be responsible for other little beings on a more familiar stage. We were together all the time. We lived together. We ate together. We worked together. We played and prayed together. As a house parent, I shared a home with the children. Similar to a kibbutz environment, we raised the children communally with emphasis on their spiritual upbringing. It was rewarding because it brought out the me in me. Not to be selfish, but working with children is beneficial for the teacher facilitator. It keeps you on your toes. There's a new reward, lesson, or challenge every day, a new success or a new failure to bounce back from and learn from. Working with children is not a one-sided affair. Anyway, enough about me. What about the little black cherubs? How shall I describe the children of Alkebulan Academy? Well, they're energetic, intelligent, curious, defiant, authentic, funny, loving, caring, complicated, disobedient, forgiving, enduring, repentant, fun, wise, bold, outspoken, timid, accepting. I could go on with the adjectives. When you work with Black children, this is what you get: perfectly imperfect beings or imperfectly perfect beings. Choose your definition. I loved how they lived together in good times and challenging moments. They knew how to express God's love to one another. The bottom line, after all was said and done, was that they were and are still brothers and sisters, no doubt. Now that's very powerful. In a world of seclusion, depression, and oppression, it's good to know that these children, now grown adults, have a web of comrades that they can reach out to and speak to in a spiritual language that says, I need you, you need me, we need each other. Alkebulan Academy gave them the tools to dissect their feelings, behaviors, actions, etc., and provide space for compassion after conflict. It also gave them a sense of peoplehood and a passion for nation building. The fact that we are an African people and that we are responsible for the growth and development of ourselves and our race has been instilled in them from an early age. It's beautiful to see them as adults connecting with each other. What's even greater is that their sacred brother and sisterhood extends beyond the physical boundaries of time and space. They learn to see themselves as a part of the larger Pan-African world community. So they have a common bond with Alkebulan youth of all ages in different areas of the world. And what I find so beautiful is that this sacred connection also extends to those Black youth who are not yet a part of this community. It sort of reminds me of my high school experience in the United States. I attended Jones High School in Orlando, Florida. I remember being new to the country and not knowing many people on campus. One day, a senior brother passed me in the hall. He was a great singer in the school choir and seemed to be very popular and well liked. Anyway, he glanced at me, smiled a big smile, and said, "What up, cuz?" Like I said, I was new and I did not yet know too many people. In that moment, a wave of acceptance, for lack of a better word, washed over me. I thought to myself, yes, I'm in. Translation: yes, I am a part. Yes, I am seen. Yes, I have a place here. His simple greeting of "cuz" told me that I was recognized as a part of the bigger school family. Community was organically built amongst the entire school body, and this community, I would one day find out, extended beyond the present student body. It was open to all the other classes that had gone on before us and those that came after. Decades later, after attending our 30-year class reunion, I was on my way to the airport. I was wearing my class reunion t-shirt, which prominently displayed our school mascot, the tiger. Along the way, I was greeted by several persons of different ages that went to my school years before I did. I didn't know them from Adam's house cat. They greeted me with phrases like, "Hey, Tiger," "Jones High," "Hey, sister." I was in the class of 77, 81, 68, and so on and so on and so on and so on. Although we did not know each other, we felt that bond of community that was instilled in us from when we were youth. The same thing happened in my college years, but this time in reverse. When I was a college senior, a young freshman at the university told me that she was from my high school. And in Jones High fashion, I immediately greeted her with, "Hey, baby tiger." That's what the upperclassmen call the younger students. Although the sister and I had never met before, we were connected. We knew we were family, and I felt a bond within that obligated me to make sure that she was all right. I guess I share all these memories just to say that one of the most beautiful things that Alkebulan Academy creates for the children, just like my high school did for us, is the sense of community, connection, and belonging. With that said, I think we live in such a wonderful time. I know that presently there are wars and rumors of wars and oppression and killings and racism and atrocities running rampant in the world, and we as Black people are the recipients of much of this trauma. But yet, I still think this is the best of times. It is the best of times for us Black people because every day I see the scales of confusion dropping off of our eyes. Every day I see blinders being removed and the spell of white non-supremacy being broken. The lies created by the people of no color are steadily being challenged and exposed. The younger generation of African people worldwide continually express their willingness to not only take up the mantle of activism and protest, but they also carry the torch of self-actualization, creativity, entrepreneurship, and building. They're not looking for a seat at someone else's table. They are building their own. Much thanks has to be given to the faithfulness of our ancestors and activists of the past and present who persevered in the face of adversity and who now are passing the baton to the generation they have birthed, raised, taught, and influenced. This is the best of times because what we have prayed for and fought for and stood up for and envisioned is here. Our youth are the dream and the hope of the African of days gone by. I love this new generation. They are bold, unafraid, smart, savvy, and connected. Connected by this web of technology in a way that its gatekeepers never envisioned we Black people would use it. We use it to voice our concerns and our perspective, to critique world issues and their effects on us, give commentary on the extraordinary and the mundane, to instruct and educate ourselves, share our creativity, and even build businesses that allow us to be self sufficient and less dependent on communities outside of ourselves. What do I want for the future for Black youth? I see a bright future of global connectivity, creativity, and building ahead, counseled by our elders, but led by our youth. The future is filled with unlimited possibilities. The sky, the stars, the moons, planets, and galaxies are the limit. There really is no stopping us from being what we want to be. As a teacher in the public schools, I would often define the concept of freedom to my students as I can be what I want to be, do what I want to do, and have what I want to have. We repeated these words often. I wanted this belief to find a home in that consciousness. When obstacles arise, we trudge through, over, under, or around. We let nothing stand in our way. We allow nothing to stop us. Nothing. I believe that the power to accomplish anything we want lies within us. Like a plant growing from a seed, all that we need is already inside. This is another phrase that I also told my students. Every year, we would plant kidney beans in the soil, water them, place them in the air and sun, and monitor the changes and growth. Our observations concluded that the stem, the leaves, the branches, the pod, everything was already inside the seed. The right conditions in our physical work, orchestrated by an intangible power, drew the plant up and out of the seed. This intangible power is always present and available to us as well as we do the work. Of all the things I could wish for our youth, accessing and utilizing this power is one of them. To me, imagination is the greatest superpower. It is invisible to the physical eye, but its projection appears so real on the canvas of the mind. Like the plant unfurling from the seed, when met with the right conditions, the power of imagination pulls it up and out for the physical eyes to see. Whatever your fancy, whatever your desire, whatever your vision or dream, if you can envision it, maintain the image in your mind, and feel the reality of the experience of receiving it, you will eventually hold it in your hand. This does not negate the requirement of action in the physical, but before the manifestation comes the imagination. What we want moves from nowhere to now here. Young people, see it in your mind, hold it in your hand.
From nowhere to now here is what you do with that invisible power. And we've talked about the invisible power quite a few times during the African Speaks. And I mentioned it here too. Y'all know I talk about the power of the imagination, and the sister said if I could hope for one thing, and there's another couple of things that she has, and there's a part two to this. Thank you, Janaki. Everybody give her applause to Janaki because she came up with some vitamins she was feeding you. She was feeding you. That invisible power of imagination. Because with that invisible power, you tap into the depth of who you are. And you slowly realize how beautiful your black can be. I'm trying to tell you, this is the call out to this new generation. As we continue to grow, as we continue to develop, as we continue to transition through life, all those who have poured hands into the future will get to see that promised land of a unified black youth that is a global experience. This is World of Alkebulan. As we go into an Advent season, and y'all know that Advent means the coming of the awareness of the God in you, the coming of something that is great that God has planted within you, that we are pulling and pulling and pulling to get it out. Getting it out. This is why we're here. This is what we do. This is the reason for the season. It's definitely to grow the African within you. And I hope y'all were able to connect. You know, I see Abiemi, and I'm like, yo, dude, I'm trying to get you on there, on here too. So stop playing, Abiemi. Stop playing. Let's get it, brother. You know I've been chasing you. You know I've been chasing you. So let's stop running. I had your whole family except you. All right. So in that space, we are definitely trying to move this thing beyond the walls in which we have into a global experience. Wherever black youth walk on this earth, they feel unified. They feel connected, and they use their invisible power to maintain and sustain life for each other. That's the promised land that God offers when we come together as a people. Then, what else will we contribute to this world? We'd be just like our ancestors. Just like our ancestors, sharing nothing but wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And we'll protect it. That's the next step. What up, Maccabees? We're going to talk about Hanukkah. I'm going to find some Maccabees to come on here and speak on Hanukkah this year so you understand it is a black holiday. Let's get it. Woo! What, brother? Yeah, we're going to claim this one. We're claiming all of them. Why? Because it all comes from us. Broaden your gaze and become the fullest expression of you, having your melanated state be so beautiful that everybody that gazes upon it can do nothing but smile. With that being said, I hope to see the rise of the African in you. One love.